the most powerful and majestic of the metallic dragons. It's time for the Gold Dragon. Well guys, the Gold Dragon is one of the most epic of the good dragons. When I think of the Gold Dragon, and even if you look at art throughout many editions of D&D, going back to first edition, the Gold Dragon has always been a little bit influenced perhaps by Asian mythology. And I think it's visible or evident in the art, like I said, in the style in which it's portrayed. The physical features are very reminiscent of that kind of serpentine, mythical Chinese dragon. But I also think it's kind of characteristic in the description of the Gold Dragon. The Gold Dragon is described as the most good, the most benevolent, and the most wise, but also kind of aloof, because it kind of sits at the hierarchy of dragon kind, and particularly of the good dragons in that spectrum of the metallic dragons. The Gold Dragon isn't as, fun-loving and trickster-ish as some of the other dragons. It doesn't necessarily like to interact as much openly or reveal its identity, but it's very interesting, and I think there are some cool ways that you can integrate a Gold Dragon into your campaign. So let's delve a little bit further in. A Gold Dragon has a sagacious face anointed with flexible spines that resemble whiskers. Its horns sweep back from its nose and brow, echoing twin frills that adorn its long neck. A Gold Dragon's sail-like wings start at its shoulders and trace down to the tip of its tail, letting it fly with a distinctive rippling motion as if swimming through the air. Gold Dragons can eat just about anything, but their preferred diet consists of pearls and gems. Thankfully, a Gold Dragon doesn't need to gorge itself on such wealth to feel satisfied. Gifts of treasure that it can consume are well received by a Gold Dragon, as long as they aren't bribes. Reserved shapeshifters. Gold Dragons are respected by the other metallic dragons for their wisdom and fairness, but they are the most aloof and grim of the good-aligned dragons. They value their privacy to the extent that they rarely fraternize with other dragons except their own mates and offspring. Older Gold Dragons can assume animal and humanoid forms. Rarely does a Gold Dragon in disguise reveal its true form. In the guise of a peddler, it might regularly visit a town to catch up on local gossip, patronize honest businesses, and lend a helping hand in unseen ways. In the guise of an animal, the dragon might befriend a lost child, a wandering minstrel, or an innkeeper, serving as a companion for days or weeks on end. So right there we have a couple opportunities. Those are hints for the DMs. How can you integrate a Gold Dragon into an adventure? Into even just a short encounter, or on a longer basis into a whole campaign. Now, I think an important note here, as I mentioned earlier, the Gold Dragons aren't really going to be keen to interact with people, but they have an inherent goodness. They are, when you think of Gold Dragons, think of like lawful good, pure, wise, and foes of evil. But they're not actively necessarily going out to make friends with your party of PCs. So you have to be clever as a DM to think of how to hook a Gold Dragon into or integrate into an encounter, adventure, or campaign. After that, they kind of go on to talk about the lair. The lair's basically, somewhere that's out of the way. And again, that kind of links back to the Gold Dragon not necessarily wanting to mix with people, not a mingler, not a big socialite. I do want to take a look at their lair actions because they're crazy and powerful. One of their lair actions, the dragon glimpses the future, so it has advantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws until initiative count 20 on the next round. Oh, okay. So it has precognition, and it gets the benefits of that. That's crazy powerful. One creature, this is the other one, one creature the dragon can see within 120 feet of it must succeed on a DC 15 charisma save or be banished to a dream plane. A different plane of existence the dragon has imagined into being. So when you think of godlike dragon powers, this is that guy. This is the one we've been waiting for. Imagine that. He just looks at someone and they fail their charisma save. Dream plane. To escape, the creature must use its action to make a charisma check contested by the dragons. Good luck with that, because an adult gold dragon has a 24 charisma. Bye-bye. If the creature wins, it escapes the dream plane. Otherwise, the effect ends on initiative count 20 on the next round. When the effect ends, the creature reappears in the space it left, or in the nearest unoccupied space if that one is occupied. Imagine the fun you can have with that. Regional effects. So regional effects give you some flavor, right? So you're around the lair in proximity to it. And as you know from the rest of the Dragon series, the regional effects typically kind of fit the mold of the dragon in question. But I want you to think again about the gold dragon being heavily influenced by like Asian mythology, right? So imagine the celestial reverence, the reverence that culturally and mythologically there is for the celestial dragon, right? It's almost a creature that's otherworldly from the stars, almost godlike. Now check this out. Whenever a creature that can understand all language sleeps or enters a state of trance or reverie within 6 miles of the dragon's lair, the dragon can establish telepathic contact with that creature and converse with it in its dreams. The creature remembers its conversation with the dragon upon waking. That's amazingly awesome, and an awesome hook. There's another opportunity for us to use the gold dragon and integrate the gold dragon. Now, why is that awesome? Well, Bill, why wouldn't you just have the gold dragon fly up? Well, because again, you got to remember the character of the gold dragon. The gold dragon doesn't like mixing and mingling with people. They're not a socialite, but, telepathically communicating through dreams, that's kind of like, getting their point across without necessarily revealing themselves. Genius. All right, here's another regional effect. Banks of beautiful opalescent mist manifest within 6 miles of the dragon's lair. The mist doesn't obscure anything. It assumes haunting forms when evil creatures are near. When evil creatures are near the dragon or other non-evil creatures in the mist, warning such creatures of the danger. The last one, gems and pearls within 1 mile of the dragon's lair sparkle and gleam, shedding dim light in a 5-foot radius. Those are really cool, and they totally fit that godlike celestial gold dragon image. Very, very easy to imagine how that would work. So let's take a look at the dragon by age. Take a look at what they're capable of doing. So a little baby gold dragon wormling is still pretty fierce. AC 17, 8d8 plus 24 hit points. They're amphibious. They have a bite attack, breath weapon. So here's their gold dragon breath weapon. Remember how all the metallics have like 2. There's one that's like lethal and another one that tends to be more about like subduing or defending. So gold dragons have fire breath. So they are the opposite side of the spectrum from the red dragon, but they have the same breath weapon. But their other breath weapon is weakening breath. The dragon exhales gas in a 15-foot cone. Each creature in that area must succeed on a DC 13 strength save or have disadvantage on strength-based attack rolls, strength checks, and strength saving throws for 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success. That's pretty amazing too. So not just melee attacks, but any strength-based action, which would include athletics, which would include things like climbing and swimming, right? So that's a really powerful defensive breath weapon. And it's not lethal, but it definitely can have a huge impact in an encounter. The young gold dragon, as all of them do, as they get older, they scale up in age and power. AC 18, so that went up by 1. The hit points jump up through the roof, 17 D10 plus 85 hit points. That's crazy. amphibious, bite attack, claw attack, and breath weapons. So their fire breath as a young gold jumps up to a 30-foot cone, DC 17 dex save, 10d10 fire damage, and that's from the 15-foot cone and DC 13 dex save and 4d10 damage from the wormling. So fierce. And the weakening breath is also a 30-foot cone instead of 15, and the DC on their strength save goes up to 17. Pretty cool. Now we move up to the adult. The adult gold dragon is to be feared. AC 19, 19d12 plus 133 hit points. Man. And of course they have amphibious and legendary resistance 3 times a day. The frightful presence, that's another thing that they get at the adult level. The fire breath becomes a 60-foot cone with a DC 21 dex save. Otherwise thou shalt suffer a mighty 12d10 damage. The weakening breath becomes a 60-foot cone, DC 21 strength save, and they can change shape. They also get, at the adult level, just like all the other adults, they get their legendary actions. They can detect, they can do a tail attack, or that wing attack. And last but not least, the Ancient Gold Dragon. AC 22. 28 D20 plus 252 hit points. So much honor. Fire breath is a 90-foot cone, DC 24 dex save, or you suffer 13 D10 damage. The weakening breath is a 90-foot cone, DC 24 strength save. And all the changed shape and legendary actions and frightful presence and legendary resistance. So they are fierce. These are fierce creatures. But they are lawful good. They are dedicated foes of evil. They're not necessarily the most social of creatures, though if they do change form, it is for a means of doing some good deed. So how do we integrate these into a game? I think we can go back to the idea of benevolence. These are going to be dragons who are kind of, if and when they choose to reveal themselves or to interact with others, maybe there's a reason. Maybe they need the help of the party. So let's look at low level, mid level, and high level ideas. Okay, I think at low level, a party could be in need of help. You could have them in the middle of whatever adventure you have going on, out and about somewhere, and maybe they've been overwhelmed. Maybe it's actually your fault. Maybe this is all unplanned. Maybe you're in the middle of a campaign and you kind of screwed up your balance and you put a bunch of really hard, high CR things in there for a low-level party and they're getting wiped out. This is where you could bring in the Gold Dragon. Now you got a couple options. You can bring in an actual low-level Gold Dragon, a Wormling, who comes in and swoops down and breathes fire on the bad ogres who are killing your first-level party or whatever it is. Or, maybe does the weakening breath just to bide the party some time to escape. And they're like, thanks, little baby Gold Dragon. And it's like, rah, and it flies away. Real simple to throw that kind of thing in there. Like, just basically using the Gold Dragon as a very two-dimensional mechanism to kind of bail out the party. Now, you don't want to make this a regular thing for a lot of reasons. You don't want to make any NPC or creature into like the hero who always bails out the party, the powerful NPC. That's kind of a trope. You want the party to learn to be self-sufficient or die. It's their choice. It's always their choice. But suppose for a moment that you had this idea to introduce this Gold Dragon, and then at a later stage, at mid-level, the party in this region, has come to hear about the existence of Gold Dragons, but they're revered by the locals, but never seen by the locals, that kind of stuff. And maybe in the course of their adventures, you decide to integrate a little bit of this dream stuff, right? Where the adult Gold Dragon wants to basically hire the party to do something, right? And I don't mean hire like, I'm going to pay you X amount of gold. I mean like basically seek out good, heroic people to do this good deed. And the gold dragon will reward them for their services. And maybe it's just an extra incentive for your party to do something that they would normally do anyway because they're a good, heroic party. And so you set it up so that this gold dragon, through the telepathic dream speak, kind of inspires the leaders of the party to want to take up this mantle and take on this quest, this noble quest, to defeat the evil blah, 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 whatever it is that you want to do, right? And maybe they go through this adventure and then they return and they're successful, and the gold dragon isn't, he's grateful, but he doesn't want to reveal himself yet. So the gold dragon appears as, a kindly old peddler who's pushing a wagon and conveys like, I have a gift from someone who spoke to me in a dream and said that you were the heroes of Marquardt, who saved the town from certain doom from the Knoll invasion. I just made that up. That's actually a pretty good idea. And that old peddler is actually the gold dragon in the polymorphed change shape form, right? But you play it out like this is just someone who happened to be acting on behalf of the gold dragon. Now, maybe your party's smart and they're like, wait a minute, are you the gold dragon? And he'd be like, who, me? No, of course not. I am just a simple peddler. Now, these were the things that were left at my doorstep of my humble cottage, and I was told in a dream to find you and deliver them. See here now in the back of my cart. And then the party goes to the back of the cart, and they get wondrous treasures, yay, and a note from the gold dragon that's like, you guys did a great job, thanks, sincerely, Goldie. That's your mid-level opportunity. Another mid-level opportunity, I think, is the small lost child. So maybe you have this scenario, and this is a little bit of plagiarizing myself, okay? But if you've watched D&D with high school students season 1, the basic story hook was like, the party's in a bar, and a man comes in, and he's wounded and collapses, and his name is Malcolm, and he needs help finding his wife, Marcia, because they were attacked and she was taken, and please help me, right? So maybe you take that basic concept, but instead you have a child instead of a grown man who comes seeking help. And the child has like a dog that's a loyal dog who's its pet. And the child needs help finding his parents because his parents and their wagon was attacked on the road, and his dog saved him and pulled him into the ditch and hid him. But, the parents are gone. And so maybe that dog is the gold dragon. And you don't reveal this, you know what I mean? Like the party doesn't really know this. So maybe they decide to help the child find their parents, and the gold dragon, as the dog, kind of accompanies them and is mainly watching out for the child, but perhaps in the course of the adventure, the party conducts themselves rather nobly and demonstrates their inherent goodness and commitment to justice and righteousness. And this impresses the dragon. And now like the party's kind of on the, on the radar of the dragon. And the dragon's going to kind of keep an eye on them and, make sure that they're kind of maintaining their moral code and their standard. And maybe when they don't, you use the dragon as a mechanism in your campaign to remind the people who chose to be good. And I'm not just talking about alignment. I'm talking about in their character backgrounds when they choose their ideals and their bonds. What's meaningful to the characters? When you want to kind of guide your players to be more committed to their character choices. And if they chose to make goodly, heroic people, and they're not necessarily being consistent with that, you can have the gold dragon bop into your campaign here and there, keeping tabs on them with like friendly advice. Could take the guise of just like a simple dwarven traveler who sees them and is like, at a bar, and they strike up a conversation, and maybe the dwarf says, it seems like you've got something on your mind, friend. Is there anything I could talk with you about? Or, maybe it's a nice old lady who's the glass blower in the village, and, she gives them a little glass, ornament thing, and it's like, this is a gift for you. It's a glass bauble representing the Northern Star to help you find your moral compass. You have the potential to be great and good. You must be benevolent, and so you create these little like personae, these different alternative identities that the dragon can assume to kind of guide the party to be good, to remind them to be good. Now, suppose they are being good. Then maybe the dragon begins to trust them. The dragon begins to trust them and maybe uses that telepathic dream speak to kind of point them in the direction of bad guys, to point them in direction of potential threats, to help them reveal to them that they can be heroes, that they can do good. And the gold dragon basically is starting to help these guys train so that this party could become allies for the gold dragon, because the gold dragon, remember, has that precognition. It can see glimpses into the future. And maybe the gold dragon's had some bad dreams lately, and it knows that bad things are coming. And it knows that as powerful as it is, it can't take on all the bad guys by itself. It seeks allies, but it must be sure that these allies are good, that they are pure of heart, that they have a strong moral compass. And so that's why it has this series of tests. So you could use this whole modus operandi with the gold dragon and not even reveal that it's a gold dragon until higher level. Now at higher level, this is where the real fun can kick in, because maybe now they've established this trust and they've proven themselves over and over that they are good and that the gold dragon can trust them, and finally the gold dragon will reveal theirself to the party. And maybe it will be in that revelation that they say, like,
there is a dark tide coming. We seek the heroes who shall help our world to maintain its balance of the light, for there is a dark tide coming.
Some prophetic thing. You can craft that yourself. But the point is, even though the gold dragon's not as socially interactive as some of the other dragons, I think the gold dragon could be a truly cool hero, right? And when I try to think of analogies, I was racking my brains for analogies. And I was like, I kind of see like from the Chronicles of Narnia, like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Aslan, the lion. I kind of see the gold dragon having that kind of level of like goodliness, love, compassion, kind of being the North Star for everyone's moral compass. Now I know some of you might be like, well, Bill, did you know that Aslan was actually a Christ-like figure? Yes, I know. I'm an English major. So you could even play that card too if you wanted. Or how about this? Dig deeper into like Chinese mythology and their perspective of the celestial dragon. And like, why is the gold dragon the symbol of good luck? Why do people, have that embedded in their cultural thing? And maybe integrate some of that. I do not think that is cultural appropriation, by the way. I think if you do it respectfully in your game, it could be great. Those are some ideas for how you could drop a gold dragon in for a simple encounter, or in an ongoing thing, or as a catalyst to lead adventure parties into adventures and onto quests, and then recurring throughout a whole campaign if you wanted to. Maybe that's been useful to you, or maybe you're sitting to yourself and thinking, Bill, I have better ideas than you. Okay, bring it. Post your amazing experiences and ideas in the comments below. Share your encounters with gold dragons. Tell us all about how you would use them, because I read those comments and so do the other people in my community. So this has been another Dragon series featuring the Gold Dragon. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all of my patrons for your eternal support. Without you, I would literally not be doing this, and we'll see you for the next episode. Well, guys, it's time. No, I fucked that up. Well, guys, we're getting down to the end of the metallic dragons, and it's time for one of the most legendary of them, the powerful, the wise. Well, guys, we're getting to the nitty-gritty, and why can't I do this? Did you get it?
Yeah.
Dave says, what's the most stressful thing about being the dragon? Dave, I don't know. What is the most stressful thing about being a dragon?
Trying to blow out your candles on your birthday cake.
Trying to blow out your candles on your birthday cake.